allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, and on time.
Hello.
Yep, we got you, Dylan.
Okay. Sorry I can't be there in person, everybody.
And before we even jump into this, we'll welcome Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Actually, give us 30 seconds. You know, what have you been doing? How'd you get on this mission?
I guess the local business owner, Universal Printing, been in town since '98. Football coach at Ford High School for the past 9 seasons. And prior to that, youth coach. So pretty much involved in golf as well. Getting a lot around it. So we use the facilities in town.
Okay, well, welcome. Okay, so onto the actual agenda. First item, the minutes from the November 17th meeting. Did everyone get a chance to take a look at it? Any corrections? All right. Hearing no corrections, accepted. Public input. Anything?
Nothing.
No emails?
No.
Just Dylan.
Just Dylan on the phone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was right ahead. And so now at this point, I turn the meeting over to Anthony for the first item of new business, the election of officers.
Okay, election of officers. So we will go right ahead with the position of chairman. Any nominations for chairman? Chris.
I would like to nominate Brian for another term. I think the last 18 months, we approved a lot of park benches. We didn't really get a lot accomplished, so I think he's got a lot that he'd like to do, and I fully support him for another year.
Is there a second? Bridget? Okay. Any other nominations? Seeing none? All in favor of Brian Nareau as chairman? All right, it's unanimous. Congratulations, Brian.
I abstain.
You didn't know.
One extension.
I voted no.
We'll move on to the vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Chris McCoy.
I'll second.
Brian with the second. Any other nominations? Okay, seeing none. All in favor of Chris McCoy for vice chair?
Okay.
One abstention. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we will fill out the board with our secretary. Any nominations for the position of secretary? Chris?
We go with Bridget.
Okay. There a second? Go, Jamie. Any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none. All in favor of Bridget for secretary? And I assume Bridget's abstaining.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Congratulations to all three. Now I will turn the meeting back over to you, Brian.
All right. Thank you. So the next order of business is the approval of the 2022 meeting calendar. And I did take a look at cross-reference this with Jewish holidays because we always seem to get, something sneaks up on us. What I don't know is anything specific on the school calendar that would impact us, but it looks fine to me.
I checked, there were no holidays.
Is April 20th vacation?
School.
I think that's break week.
We just passed our calendar last night. It's April 20th. No, it's the week before.
The 11th?
Okay. It's the week of the 10th that we're off.
Okay, so that works then.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on it? Thoughts? All right. Then someone wants to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the dates.
Second.
Have a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None? Okay. Moving right along. The Next is to hear the approval of the 2022 Tree of Hope calendar. And then we also have in the reports the Tree of Hope subcommittee report. So if you want to combine them now, we can discuss that, and then we'll get a motion on the on the list.
Was everyone able to see the list that was sent out? Chris and Jamie and I worked to make sure everything is local and according to the rules that we had put into place last year. They, all the organizations or charities support families and local children. So that was kind of the two points that we made when we were putting out the application, and I was able to get a pretty decent response on Facebook first time around, and then the second one was just kind of outreach. But I can go into detail on any of these websites. I didn't put their entire application because it was kind of long, but if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to divulge because I have the applications like listed here and I can speak about any charity.
Yeah, the only one I'm just trying to recall is Alex's Lemonade Stand. I guess they're going to be new this year. What's their, what do they do?
Yeah, so Alex's Lemonade Stand, and I'd feel more comfortable just kind of reading from their application, so let me just pull them up really quickly. But it is a childhood cancer organization. It's really cute. I'm sorry. Just these Google forms, you have to like go through everybody. So just give me a second and I will get over. Sorry. Of course, it's the last one. Okay. So this came from Katie Flynn. And she wrote in the North Stratfield PTA as well as many other organizations and individuals in Fairfield support Alex's Lemonade Stand. This summer here in Fairfield, we plan on doing a large town-wide initiative to raise funds to support ALSF in our Summer of 100 Lemonade Stands. ALSF is one of the leading fundraisers of pediatric cancer research in the U.S. and Canada, having raised more than $200 million so far, funding over 1,000 research projects and providing programs to families affected by childhood cancer. We're happy to give more information about this wonderful organization, pretty much it. This past year, they supported a local girl who I actually know, Reese Shanker, who she's in remission now, but she had cancer a couple of years ago. And so my understanding is that they would partner with a family or families that have been affected.
Okay.
When they say 100 stands, is that 100 locations? Are there
think that
locally? You know, because it's pretty large organization.
Mm-hmm. I think and I can reach out to Katie and just clarify, but I think that they would probably just be having the one here as part of the 100. Mm-hmm. But I'm not exactly sure. I can reach out to her now, so. Because this year they definitely just did one event locally here in Fairfield.
Okay. And you know, are they, the month of August, are they planning on doing a stand that they're going to get seek approval?
I don't know that they would do the stand on the green. They definitely did it at North Stratfield last year, so I can ask her if they intend on doing it there again, or if it would, come before us if we would approve something like that. I don't know. It might be kind of nice to have something in the center of town for a little bit more.
Did you get more than 12 applications? Or?
I'm missing one. So I got 11. One of them has not completed his application, but he gave me a verbal, and that is Bob Sustin from Nourish Bridgeport. And if you're familiar with all of the food drives that they've done, I think most of them have been at Operation, not Operation, but they did some at the Gala Club. They've done them all over town.
But there's a lot.
Yeah, so he was really happy to be involved, and it's a great organization. So I have a verbal from him, and the only reason why we don't have 12 is because Al DeGuido always gets the month of December for Al's Angels, so that's kind of just a standing, so.
Hey, Bridget, I'd like to just make a quick comment. I think this is a fantastic list of organizations. So thank you for all the work that you've done on this. I mean, these organizations are awesome. So thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Dylan.
Related, but not necessarily, pertaining to the approval that we're going to go versus. Have you guys decided about the signage?
Well, not exactly.
No, not yet.
But I had an idea of, instead of, and I don't know if this would make any difference, but it does look like a Christmas tree. So what if any pertinent information was hung on the tree?
As an ornament?
Like a placard, I don't know.
I don't want to tell you guys, what decisions should, you guys should make in subcommittee. That's going to be the same thing. That will be the approval from us of honoring it for the month, and that's what we're trying to avoid. And that we probably should have not ever had that sign up for the month, from the get-go with the Tree of Hope.
Mm-hmm.
And the question, though, kind of, how does it, delineate when anybody's walking by, what are these lights for?
Mm-hmm.
How can I donate to this charity? Who is this charity? And that's kind of that pickle that we're running into now.
Well, I guess one of the suggestions was that we could put it on the website. The month of January, the Tree of Hope is sponsored by the Bridgeport Trust Commission. We haven't discussed that, but that might be a possibility.
Yeah, and you guys do that.
Yep, we do that on every month when we post the pictures on social media. I believe the first selectwoman woman also makes that announcement at the Board of Selectmen meeting to try to advertise for that as well. So.
The other thing, though, that I think is very important is they have the QR code, which, without digging into the finances and charities, I wonder how many people just randomly walk by and say, oh, that's, I never even thought of that. That's dear to me. I'm going to donate. I'm going to donate. And, there's another question is, you don't want to take away from that. So there's really no right answer to any of this.
And is it because it's a temporary sign? Is that the issue?
No, it's
overnight.
It's overnight, and it's 31 days at a time.
Okay.
And we have been running into some issues as it relates to other things that we're not allowing to be overnight, that they are coming back and saying, well, you set precedent.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about we don't want to set precedent by doing this. Well, you've already set the precedent, and as we also learned, we had the skating rink out there for 3 nights a few years ago, and so all this, our diligent effort not to set precedent kind of came back at us, but we really have to kill the signs.
Honestly, I don't understand why. I don't really understand what the issue is here.
We are not allowing.
Why?
Well, first of all, the
Candidly, it sounds like you're not allowing.
no, the Parks and Rec regulations stipulate that the parks are closed at 11 o'clock unless there are a specific exception permission granted, which we never did for these signs, unless there is a specific, case-by-case exception granted to each of these. We have not been complying with our own rules. It's not me. It's the town attorney. It's the, it goes well beyond me. Yes, Jamie.
So maybe just to make clear what we're really trying to accomplish. So the issue is overnight. So a sign could be there during the day. Or I just wanted to sort of clarify if a sign can be there during the day, or could a sign possibly be next to, like at Centro or something like that? I'm not trying to get around, but just trying to understand what we really need to accomplish here. If it's something that a sign can be out during the day, again, I'm not trying to skirt the rules, but really what are the parameters that we have to stay within?
Can we just operate in the realm of logic? Like, all this seems illogical to me. Let's forget the rules for a second, because those can be fixed, right? And I don't understand what the issue with having signs philosophically is. Like, let's just start at first principles.
Because it's basically our endorsement that these organizations can maintain, call it a vigil, call it whatever you want, overnight for the entire month.
But haven't we already done that by establishing the tree?
The tree with a different color of lights on a monthly basis.
I mean, I think
it doesn't have a sign. It doesn't say sponsored by the St. Baldrick's. We cannot do that.
Al sponsors this tree, right? Do I have that understanding?
So he donated the tree to the town. So it's the town's tree.
Okay.
So wait, can we back up though, because in front
So
of...
he has nothing, he
Okay.
doesn't, he's not responsible for the light.
Please raise your hand. We're going to just go around on his talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted clarification on that, like, could we ask if it's still associated with Al, the fine?
Al lives in London. Al donated
Nothing
the
to do
tree.
with the tree, okay.
The town owns the tree.
Okay.
Now, part of the issue is Al hasn't fully embraced the fact that the town owns the tree. We have maintained December for Al's Angels. Al is very generous and he does a lot of work, but the tree is the town's.
Gotcha.
Yes. Good. If you have any questions, please.
So Al runs the lights on the tree.
Okay.
So, but we do allow advertisements in front of the green for stuff all the time. What's the difference?
So we don't. Economic development, community and economic development manages the banners that are on there, and there's a specific regulation, or I don't want to say ordinance, because I don't think ordinance is the right thing, but there's a specific regulation that regulates those banners over the green, the ones that are on the wire, right on the...
Because Fair TV, when I was on Fair TV, we used to approve those all the time. And the bar's very low.
I can't speak to that. Like I said, I know my department doesn't handle those banners, so I'm almost positive it's Mark Barnhart in economic development that does. So.
Could we speak with him? Because I honestly think that without the signs, there's no point in having the tree.
Agreed.
It's a lot of work for nothing.
I don't know that Mark Barnhart would have any say over what we do on the green itself, because that is Parks and Recreation. So the signs that you're talking about that Mark is apparently approving are out by the street?
They're about
like over the sidewalk kind of?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there is, on the green, during the summer, list of the concerts. What's the difference?
Not on the green.
Yeah, right by the gazebo.
No. There used to be an informational board, a big white board, next to like the bus stop.
Yeah.
But we haven't utilized that in several years. That was the only spot that there was an informational spot. Back during the Tetro administration, we used to put up a banner on the front of the gazebo that thanked our sponsors for the concerts, and we were asked to take that down. Basically for the exact same type of reasoning. I think there is a stop and stroll banner on the gazebo right now that's not supposed to be there.
How do signs in the ground differ from a plaque that's on a bench that we approve?
The memorial bench. I don't know what the legal answer to that is. We can ask the town attorney for an interpretation of that. But I don't know what the legal difference of that is.
New guy here, just two observations. First being, we're assuming people are going to know to go to the website to find out what the lights stand for. Might just be the town's decorating the tree for this month and have no idea what's behind it. Second thing is always, you start putting signs, now you're 12 become 24 people applying, charities. Now it becomes a bigger issue because people are going to be vying to have representation for a month.
Yeah, that hasn't happened though.
Well, but if they see they have an opportunity to have a sign up for a month, get no charge, that's insane. Like it could end up being, becoming even bigger. Now then you have to decide, well, who are the 12 people and, the whole other issue. So
again, the sign, we have allowed the signs up during 2021, and theoretically it could happen in the future, but there hasn't been an onslaught of requests just because of the signs up there.
I guess I just don't see the problem with the signs. I'm not really worried about precedent, and we're just trying to highlight charity. So I don't really see the harm here.
I think at this point you might want to maybe table this, maybe get an executive session, special meeting, something along those lines with the town attorney and hash this out behind closed doors.
I'm happy to be there.
We'll all be there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to be able, we have somebody for January, obviously, so not a ton of time. So that's the only thing, just to let them know if they're going to have a sign or not for Bridgeport Rescue Mission is January.
Okay. Well, that particular item will be tabled, and I will report back what we're going to do with that. We'll have a special meeting or next month. We'll have an executive session.
So, I have a quick question. Are we going to approve the calendar?
Yes, we're going to.
Okay.
Well, if there's a motion and it's approved, yes.
Okay.
There's no reason why the calendar won't be approved.
Okay.
Any further discussion about the item that we're reviewing, the calendar? Someone want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Board of Education report.
Okay, so we've been busy. We had our town hall a week ago and a meeting last night, jam-packed meeting. We passed our 22-23 calendar. A few of us tried to get a February break back in, but that did not pass. The State Board of Ed wants, even though they said they were going to give us until June, now want an update on our redistricting in January. So we'll be talking about that, I think, at our first January meeting. The budget's going to be presented in January. And I don't know, does anybody else have any questions?
is there a need to redistrict? Did you just redistrict 7 years ago?
We have been in a redistricting, or I guess this is about our racial imbalance situation, and that has, I don't know, I honestly, I don't know how long it's been going on. We have been out of compliance for a very long time, and every single time we try to put a plan together, it doesn't work, and the state's kind of had it up to here with us. And we did have our board leadership go up there with the superintendent to try to explain to them that now is not the right time to talk about redistricting when we're trying to come out of a pandemic and we have sort of, other things that are important. And they weren't really receptive to that. So we thought we had until June, and now they're telling us just last week that we now have until January to come up with a plan. So we heard about that last night. So, I don't know. My guess is just trying to get like a sense of the body from the last discussion we had at the board. Most of us don't even want to touch this right now. We've got a lot of other things going on. And, you don't really want to, coming out of a pandemic when our kids are, having mental health issues and in the middle of trying to get things back to normal, to start talking about redistricting kids to different schools and, separating them from their friends.
Against neighborhoods.
Yeah. So, but we're going to have to deal with it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
And this is all still McKinley, primarily.
No, I mean, I don't think so. It's not. It is, I guess, McKinley and maybe Holland Hill, but
Is this still like the top to bottom plan that was like sort of being talked about pre-COVID, like high school level all the way down to the elementary?
Well, we don't. I mean, it could be. Like, I remember I just got on the board when we started. We were really getting into like the scenarios of whether or not we were going to, close the school down or consolidate or make an ECC or any of those things. And, the landscape has changed so much already. Mm-hmm. So we did consult with our, it used to be Malone and McBroom, now it's SLAM, to talk about sort of enrollment projections and, get a sense of what potential buildings may be coming in town and apartment complexes that might influence numbers. But they're not terribly worried about it. We still need to talk about it because, you put one building up near Mill Hill and it's going to shift numbers in our elementary schools. Mm-hmm. So, and we've also been talking about our long-term facilities plans, and we've been touring schools. So, I think Dwight is next up on renovation, and, we walked through there because that could potentially be a renovation or a tear down and mm-hmm. rebuild. So, all of these things affect those types of plans, but the state doesn't really want to hear about it.
You're not in compliance with these with whole funding?
Well, there's been talk throughout the years of what exactly, what are you kind of going to do about it? But yeah, I guess there's always the threat of money, of reimbursements on construction projects or anything like that. But, it's not like we haven't been trying.
I sat on a board years ago, probably 10 plus years ago on that.
Yeah.
I was on 6. It was the same conversation.
Yeah, same kind of, right? Yeah.
I have one other question. Did spring break move from what it was originally, or is it the same?
No. And
okay.
From our draft calendar, it is the week of April 10th. For next year.
Okay.
For not this coming April. The next
one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we try to follow the CES calendar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got tricked on that too.
Yeah, I was like, I have my life already.
I thought it was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not this time.
I thought they moved that.
Oh, that's weird. Why
we passed that one last.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, the upcoming capital projects. Geez. Anthony?
Yes, all right, you two might want to slide over. I felt bad after I printed everything out and realized that we don't have, obviously, a color printer, so I'm like, these pictures are worthless. So the 4 projects you guys have in front of you have been on the waterfall chart. You guys have actually seen, I think, 2 of them in the exact same format that they're in right now, and over the years that I've presented them, they've been cut from budget by Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen or RTM at one point or another. But these are the 4 projects that we are going forward with for this January. The Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen are holding their capital planning workshop on January 12th. That's normally something they do in October. They didn't do it this past October, just, I believe, because of elections and stuff like that, but they will be doing that in January, so I'll actually go forward with them and go through our capital planning waterfall chart that basically covers the next 5 or 6 years. But these are the projects, again, that we'll be attempting to go forward with for next year. So the first one that I'll just briefly talk about is the tennis center lights. Anybody that's been down to Old Dam Road Tennis Center, that's the tennis bubble. In the summer, years ago, we had 5 courts down there. I believe back in 2014, we added a 6th court. But when we added the 6th court, we didn't adjust the light. So at night, when they're playing in the summer, the 6th court isn't lit other than just a little bit of light that it gets. These lights were also, the ones that are there, were also installed in 1981. So they're 40 years old, if my math is correct there. We have maintenance issues with them every year. Certain poles will go out, lights will go out, ballasts go out. Obviously, they're not energy efficient. They're 40 years old. So I've put this one on the chart again. It has been cut, like I said, it's been cut twice in the past 5 years. I'm hoping that it'll get through this year because at some point these lights are going to stop working. Our public work guys are good. Our contractors are pretty good, but at some point these lights are going to go. So that's one of the projects. Next one you guys have seen as well is the Jackie Darrell Pavilion kitchen and restroom upgrade. I believe it was 2 years ago. It was the winter of 1920, right before COVID, where we remodeled the interior of Jackie Darrell.
2020.
2020, 1920, as long as it feels like that. It's been quite a long time. Yeah. 2020, where we renovated the interior of Jackie Darrell, and just so you guys could see, that's the current interior of Jackie Darrell. So it used to be all wood color. We kind of went with a whitewash, beachy feel, replaced the flooring, kept the original beams, just had them sanded and restained, and I mean it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous facility. But when you walk into the bathrooms and the kitchen, this is what you're dealing with. Again, this building I also believe was built in 1980 or 1981 by our Public Works Department, who did a tremendous job building this. But it's dated and it needs upgrades. It is only a seasonal building, so it's open April to mid-October, and pretty much every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are booked every year. We average about 125 parties there over those dates, so you could find a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday here or there available. It's just one of those things. This is kind of a sore spot when you get a bride in there or somebody who's trying to have a nice party or a retirement party. They get this beautiful room, and then they're like, oh, this is the bathroom. And, they're not ADA compliant. I mean, they're as close as you're going to get at the moment for the bathrooms, but, again, just dated. So we've estimated with DPW, we've walked through this building several times, for about $100,000 that we'll be able to do the kind of upgrade, facelift really, that we would need to just make this half of the building on par with the front half. Dwight tennis court. This one I actually moved up. You guys have probably heard me talk about it. We've been talking about doing Fairfield Woods Middle School tennis court first. And then these ones have just deteriorated much quicker than Fairfield Woods. We resurfaced Fairfield Woods 2 years ago, and the resurfacing held up really well. These are beyond resurfacing. As I scroll down to some of these other pictures, you'll see these cracks are fairly wide. Obviously, in the summer, they'll get weeds through them that our parks guys have to stay on top of. So the plan here would be to replace these 4 tennis courts, which are used obviously pretty heavily by the public because they're not really that close to the school. So the public does use them during the school day where they can't really use a lot of the other school tennis courts during the day. These ones I don't think they get chased off of. But we want to replace these 4 tennis courts with post-tension concrete, which is what we just did at Tomlinson Middle School. So if you've seen Tomlinson, those courts are absolutely gorgeous. We replaced, Board of Ed replaced Fairfield Ward, Blake courts with post-tension, and then just did the 6 at Ludlow this past year with post-tension concrete. So that's kind of the new way to go with the post-tension. It's more expensive up front, but you save in the maintenance costs. We get a 20-year warranty on any crack, and we get 10 years on the paint and lines. So with an asphalt court, right now we get 10 to 12 years if we're lucky, no warranties, and we're pretty much resurfacing them every 2 years to the tune of, for 4 courts, about $60,000. So it's a lot of money thrown away.
All 4 courts are used
regularly. And then Ludlow High School also uses them, I believe, for their JV matches. So high school gets some good use of them. And then the big project that we've put on the chart, again, we've had this on our chart for a number of years. I know it's getting a lot of press lately from the Fairfield Athletic Foundation, but is to turf and light the fields behind Roger Ludlow Middle School, which is a pretty good picture of it here. These fields are right on the Ludlow campus. You can see the high school lights in the background from the turf field. That's Ludlow Middle School we're looking at in this picture. The high school utilizes this field, or it's kind of a field and a half, almost 2 fields that you can fit here. They utilize it for soccer practice, track and field, lacrosse, football, pretty much anybody they can squeeze on this field, they do. They use it to about 5:30, 6 o'clock daily during sports seasons. The middle school obviously uses it for PE classes, some of their extracurricular activities. They have an adventure course, a ropes course, to the right just outside of this picture. You can't really see it here. And then rec comes on, or some of our, whether we put FUSA over there or Fairfield youth football, lacrosse. These fields here are heavily used. But again, we've put these on the chart for us because really their central location in town, proximity to the high school with their lights. We feel that this is an easy sell for the town to put lights around this field. And obviously for us putting lights and turf here, we're going to pick up extra practice time, especially in the fall when it gets dark at 5 o'clock. We can still practice, even if we practice only till 8 o'clock. That still picks up an extra 3 hours every day. You multiply that out, it's a lot of extra practice time. Turf fields, we don't close when it rains, so we still would be able to have or host practices or games on these fields there. The thought would be to put in a multi-purpose, full-size football, lacrosse, soccer field, and then overlay a softball diamond on it, so you can play either Little League baseball, softball on it. The varsity or JV softball team from the high school could practice or play on it if they wanted to. And then we also have the challenger group, the Fairfield Storm, who currently don't have really an ADA compliant turf field, baseball field for them to play their games on. So they're playing out of Mill Hill right now. So this would be a huge, in my opinion, a huge asset to be able to overlay that. Yes, you wouldn't be able to play, soccer or football on at the same time that you put a baseball or softball game on there, but it would free up space somewhere else in town as well. So my office would be able to balance that. But those are the 4 projects that currently, like I said, I'll be pushing forward in January. And hopefully we'll get funding and be able to break ground on some of these by the summer. while I have this up, just one more thing. Today we posted some pictures of the progress at Gould Manor, and again, I don't know how many of you guys follow the social media, but I figured, hey, I better show you guys because we had some great pictures. But Gould Manor, we're making some really good progress. This is the half basketball court that we've installed. The lines for basketball, pickleball, tennis will all get put down in the spring when the temperatures warm up. Fence will be going in soon. That's what these poles are for. But the basketball hoop is in. Park is still closed. I don't know that that's going to keep people out. But the fitness park, Fairfield's first outdoor fitness park, rubber surfacing. We will have an ADA compliant sidewalk that goes from the Gould Manor sidewalk on the street that leads to the park. So if somebody is in a wheelchair or has any other kind of mobility issues, they'll still be able to get onto the rubber surfacing, which is ADA compliant, and use the equipment as well. I'm really pleased with the way this project has turned out, and I think last month I told you guys that we weren't sure, we didn't have really an ETA on when this equipment was coming, and it was delayed. Well, it had to be like the next day. They were like, hey, the shipment's coming, get ready. And the installer did a really nice job of getting this in as quickly as he did, just a different view of the of that park.
Does Galen look at the comments and reply?
I typically do.
You do. Did you see the one woman commenting about this? It's unfortunate.
Yep, and I replied.
Okay. She saw
So,
the
Anthony, I'm sorry, it's Dave.
unfortunate.
Hold on, Dave.
It's unfortunate that we had to give up the playground where that the kids enjoyed so much for an exercise area. And it's two different things. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dave, before I jump ahead.
So you're talking about the backfield at Ludlow to go turf there?
Yes, that's the one on Uncala Road.
Right. Wow. So do you think right now it's underutilized? That's what you're saying?
I think we have a field shortage in town, and I think that's the primary reason to turf it. I think by putting lights there, we also increase our hourly usage, our daily usage ability, just by being able, especially in the fall, by being able to practice till, like I said, even 8 o'clock. I don't even think I need to push for 10. I think even 8 o'clock gives us an extra 3 hours of practice a day.
Yeah.
I think Dylan probably would do. We coach on the field by 5:30.
The nice thing about the lights there is really no neighbors could come in and squawk about it.
Is that our call, or is that the Board of Selectmen, right?
It all has to go through Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and the RTM.
So do we start the ball rolling, or?
So, yeah, I mean, this is essentially me saying, hey, these are the projects we're moving forward with. You guys don't need to vote on them. I don't think we typically vote on these. I normally just lay out for you guys what we're doing with the projects. Budget, I will be bringing, this is actually later than usual, but I will probably be bringing budgets to you guys for the operating budget next month. Finance they asked for them later this year. Again, I don't know why everything was pushed back, but they're about a month behind. So budgets will be coming next month.
Okay.
Just
Thank you.
With the fields, excuse me, being, I'm coach at Ward, and I know the Board of Ed controls the fields at Ward. Is there anything in plans for Ward? Because now you have Ludlow that has 2 turf fields and have, Ward who has 1 field. We practice on dirt for football. We can't get the field.
So, yeah, I could answer that for you. So that has been raised to the Board of Education. I know the athletic director, the former athletic director, had brought this up to the leadership there. For the Board of Ed, it's just as a town, it's a balancing act. And, as Bonnie had mentioned, Dwight School is going to have a huge renovation or potentially knockdown rebuild within the next 5 years. They've got $100 million worth of air conditioning coming. So yeah, it's just, do you put a turf field project for the Board of Ed ahead of any of those projects? And it's something that they have to. And I know when I believe the Fairfield Athletic Foundation came and did a little presentation because their group would like to see the ward project. There is a ward project I kind of been working with them on down the road. It's just how far down the road. I don't know.
Dylan?
Dylan, do you want to speak to that at all?
Dylan, are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
So Dylan is very involved with. Yep. Okay. Go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, so I'll take my Parks and Rec Commission hat off and just speak to the FAF. So, Anthony's absolutely right. We've talked about with the Board of Education having, a complex at Ward, but long story short, it's going to be an uphill battle for a lot of different reasons. Number one, money is an issue. It's a big price tag, $10 to $12 million. But I think the bigger issue is with respect to equity. So the position that we've taken at the Fairfield Athletic Foundation is, let's get behind Anthony's efforts to get turf at Roger Ludlow, and then hopefully next year we'll have a similar conversation around Sullivan Field. And then based on, what kind of feedback we get from the consultancy and the master plan, we can kind of figure out what might be the next best move. So, for example, we've talked about Tunxus Hill, Lower Tunxus Hill being an option, and that would, present some equity in terms of one side of town versus the other side of town. So, the Fairfield Athletic Foundation is supportive of, whatever is feasible for the town, and we just want to get a little insight based on this master plan and, based on some of the other criteria and some of the other things that we're facing, like, budgets and timing and lights and neighbors and all that stuff.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the tear down or possible rebuild of Dwight, is there been any discussion or thought about maybe stripping that whole area back there?
We have no idea what's coming this way. So, there was, I toured school with some of my fellow board members and Angeles, and, when you're touring, you're looking at, we obviously don't know what's behind the walls, but it's an old school, and it needs a lot of work. And the terrain of that is not easy for construction or the way it sits. So, I have no idea if they would turf back there. I know there's a lot of field space.
There's a lot. It's a huge field.
I think about Dwight all the time. Glad you raised it. One of all this breaking up. But I do sort of worry what happens, let's say, this year. How does that coordination happen for association? So that we're actually looking at that property and question for
yeah.
Yeah, like blank canvas. Space. I don't think there's any houses around there. Basically, with the marriage, we have full other side.
It would.
All that has to be brought in through the master plan.
Yeah.
Hopefully going forward, you won't have one-offs. We'll have a plan that we all can get behind, and we'll know what's coming, and it'll just be a matter of...
All right. I'm going to just jump back to Gould Manor real quick. So 2 baseball diamonds are for the most part done. There is some fence work that needs to be done. The temporary home run fence was put up. It is coming down for the winter. I just wanted them to install it. The sleeves are actually in the ground, so they'll be plugged. And then every season they'll be able to just put this fence right back out. But again, I wanted to make sure that it looked like it's supposed to look and everything works the way it's supposed to work. So if anybody asks you guys, it's not staying up. They'll be able to sled, not this winter, but in the future they'll be able to sled down the hill like they used to. And then
I went by there. and since they walked it, and that's temporary fencing.
Yeah.
Doesn't look that temporary, but good going.
No, but it is temporary.
Yeah.
And then in respects to the playground, there is a large playground. You can see it. I didn't really go up and take a picture of that separately, only because they're currently working on it, but there's a large playground behind this baseball field on the opposite side of the pond that you can see. This red structure is brand new, and there's some swings that went up. That'll probably be completed in the next week or two, this whole playground back there. So there still is a playground that goes. Yep, on the opposite side of the pond.
Because I have a question about the fence.
Yeah.
It was hard to tell from the picture. The one that's like in the back.
This gray fence.
That's
also temporary.
okay.
Both fences are temporary. This green fence,
That's like the home run.
that's
one.
the home run fence. That's coming down, and then this gray fence, which you can see here.
Is it to?
This is really, right now, it's just temporary construction fence to keep people off of the field, because, again, we spent a lot of money putting down a lot of sod. We need the sod to take. We don't want people out there destroying it before we open up for the spring.
People won't be able to, like, somehow get onto that little hill right there.
I'd like to think that they're not going to.
Okay.
We had snow fences for the past 2 or 3 years, however long this park has been closed, since 2018. We had snow fences all around the park, and people just ignored them.
Yeah, it's like such a popular setting now.
So, but we believe that this fence, this would take some effort for people to take down. I'm not saying they won't,
so that'll be awesome.
It'll be down in the spring.
Just a question on the fence. They put the original, I inherited the finishing of Gould, and there were places where you couldn't actually extend it to 200 feet. Is it 200 around now?
So the fence is 200. You can see here slightly, there's a slight incline. It does go into that hill a little bit.
You were able to put it at 200.
But the fence is at 200 right now.
For both fields?
For both fields. This field here doesn't have a regular mound. It's flat for the portable mound, so they can play their 50, 70 games here, which is the way they adjust the bases and the pitching mound, so they can do that on this field. The other field is a true Little League field, and and we talked to the league, worked with them, and made sure that was how they wanted to still utilize both of these fields, and they agreed. Pickleball, this will be the pickleball court. I'm up on the hill taking this picture, so this is just to the south of the tennis court. That's the tennis court, so I'm looking left, now I'm looking right.
Is it one or two?
There's one tennis court here, and then there's one pickleball court here, so you'd be playing towards the road, and then behind here to my left would be that basketball, that half basketball court. We couldn't fit 2 pickleball courts here, but the tennis court will be double lined, so it'll be lined for tennis and double lined for pickleball.
I've had some discussions recently with Pickleball Mafia. One of the things that they requested, they asked, I think it makes perfect sense. They don't like the fact that there's just one. They like to have 2 side by side. It's kind of group activity, if you will. But benches to sit down. Are those going to be there?
We'll put benches in. Okay.
Is there room to play basketball while at pickleball?
Yep. They're completely fenced in separately.
Oh, they are?
They will be, yeah. Yep. All right. And then the last thing I wanted to just mention, one more thing, is the master plan. So there is a master plan website. I know a few of you guys made it to the first community meeting, which was fantastic. We had about 60. The newspaper said we only had 30. I counted almost 60 people, so I was really pleased. The staff was really pleased with the turnout. Again, the article seemed a little pickleball heavy. That was, I think, the overall theme that the groups had. They were definitely out in force. But I would say pickleball, turf fields, dog parks were and pool. Community pool came up a bunch too. Those were primarily the top 3 or 4 items that everybody was talking about. But the vendor BL companies basically just laid out the process. They're in the process right now of evaluating every one of our facilities and open spaces and our school fields at a very high level there. And they're going to come up with, they'll hammer it down to 15 different locations and give us different layouts and expansions or upgrades that they see, in addition to your normal maintenance that, they may look at this picture of the gazebo and say, hey, your gazebo needs a new roof. That is the side, that's actually the side I think McKay was mentioning before with the sponsors on it. That shouldn't be there, yeah. That's the one. So anyway, FairfieldParksandRecPlan.com is the website on here. It goes through the project, gives you, they post when the workshops are. We'll be doing a couple more neighborhood meetings. They should be reaching out to you guys. The important thing that's on here right now is the community survey. We want as many people to go on here and fill this survey out with their feedback on what you're looking for, for the town. So I don't know the number off the top of my head. I know we've had a lot of people respond. So, the more we can spread the word about people going on here and filling this out, the better, information we're going to have and be able to move the town forward. So, but I think it sets us up, for the next 10 years when we have this plan in hand finalized.
The survey controlled so that people have to put in a name, or can the pickleballers all get organized and do it every day?
It looks like they could potentially do it every day.
Because the pickleball, Jamie and I were at the meeting, and honestly, there wasn't much talk about a dog park, but I know there's a lot of talk behind the scenes about a dog park. There were conversations about skating rinks. There was conversations about, in every group, that we need one of those big dome facility with the indoor football field that we get. Yeah, isn't it? Where are we going to put it?
$40 million later.
But the pickleballers were very, very organized, and they were out. Every group had pickleball on the
years ago, there was about 60.
Yeah. Two interesting themes that came up that might sort of feed their way into what we do here. One was about potential private funding joining with the town to privately fund some of these initiatives, and I think that's very interesting. And the other was just the whole discussion about we don't have a Waveney Park. We don't have a single place where you can leverage different sports, and maybe that comes back to Dwight as a possibility. But as we look at this, the more we can consolidate in one area, it makes it a lot easier to build and maintain and manage. We're just islands everywhere, and that's how the town grew up.
Yep.
Was there any talk about, or I heard there was some talk about the golf course and the driving range and putting lights up there? I mean, we have all that full property up there. I mean, it would be great for a sports complex up there.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Up in the golf course, the driving range.
So part of the police have a shooting range behind the driving range. Part of the waterfall chart that I had done for the rec department had included lights for Doogie softball field, which we went for this past year. The league was going to pay for the lights in total, just wanted the town to bond it, and then they would pay it back, and the Board of Finance shot that idea down. They didn't want to risk putting lights there because they remembered the fight we had, with the neighborhood getting the field in the first place. They didn't want to go that route again, so they said no to the lights. My plan was to put lights on the softball field, then next year, not this upcoming one, but the following year, go for driving range improvements, which would have included lights, which it's still on the waterfall chart. I'm still going to go forward with it, but to do a double-decker heated driving range, lights, it'll be a fight. So we'll see. But that's the plan. I mean, that's the plan. There's revenue models out there that show. I mean, Stanford does it. Shelton does it. I mean, there's land up there, and we have that whole Parcells property, which
How many acres is the shooting range?
I don't know, but it's way back behind the driving range. It's not. I think the police would want to keep it there, but we're so far ahead. I don't want to say ahead of that because it's not the right way. There would be no danger of putting other things up there. Yeah. But as you pull into where Doogie softball field is, there's enough space there probably to put 2 fields as you pull in. That the girls softball kind of uses as overflow parking on opening day. But again, it's the neighbors, it's windy roads.
I mean, I was on the RTM with the girls softball field, and I was for it because my daughter played softball, and I believe the girls should have had their own field. Fought all the way through, gets approved. I saw one of the people who were really against it. Saw him like a year later. I said, how's the field? Don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
Just for opening day.
Yep.
Outside that, it's quiet. You go up and play. So, you'll get to fight, but...
Yeah. And I think, with BL companies doing our master plan and evaluating all the facilities, the driving range, Doogie Yellow, those are all things they're going to evaluate. They've seen our waterfall chart. They've seen, the plan of conservation development. I mean, they know what the town is thinking. They know what we've been talking about. So they should be able to also build off of that. And if there is an opportunity there, that'll be one of the sites that they're going to say, hey, there's opportunity. So I'm optimistic.
Do you want us to attend these, or will they reach out to us?
They should be reaching out to you guys individually, but it doesn't hurt to fill out the survey, and I'll follow up with Galen tomorrow just to make sure she stays on them about these individual meetings.
I filled out the survey once. I filled out one.
Depends on what you were voting for.
I was reading.
Kidding.
Hey, Anthony, I just went on the website too, and there's a place there where you can be put on the mailing list, and you can also provide some specific suggestions. So there's like 3 or 4 different ways that you can get involved outside of, just doing the survey.
Perfect.
Did everyone get an email about the one at Ludlow?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so you're going to
So these are monthly?
Well, they're going to have...
There's going to be 5 neighborhood meetings coming up within the next, I would say probably early January.
Okay.
Will be the next ones. And then I think in February they'll do a recap of all the neighborhood meetings, say, hey, this is what we're finding right now. And hopefully the final plan will be June or July to us. So lined up for the next budget season to say, hey, here's our priorities.
I think it was really good to be there. I think just to listen and hear, but I was finding that I needed to not tell anyone that I was on the commission, because every time someone would say, we don't have something, they would look at me like I did it.
I met a lot of people.
Yeah.
Myself, and
but it was really good.
I had very nice conversations in a lot of the little breakout groups.
Yeah. It was very good.
All right. Any director program report?
Getting ready for our spring brochure. It's going to be going to the printer, I think, next week or this Friday, early next week maybe. But then that'll be going out in January. That'll have your summer camps and things of that nature. There's a snowflake dance that staff is putting on, kind of like a parent or guardian child type event at Penfield Pavilion in January. Echoes of Sinatra, we just did at the Pavilion. Frank Sinatra type music, well attended and well received, I would say. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the programs right now.
So, for the good order, some of this is piggybacking off of the master plan, what we heard, and some of these comments are just kind of my frustration of the last year with becoming basically a memorial bench approving commission as opposed to being more proactive with stuff. So I while the master plan is going on, I think we could probably get a little bit more involved, and I would propose coming up with a couple subcommittees. And the 3 areas that I would like to focus on are pickleball. We can start looking at some sites. Anthony and I went out and we were looking at a site a couple weeks ago. The AED facilities, and I'm going to ask you to head up this subcommittee because you seem to be interested in it when Andrew Fuller was here. Saying that why would we rely on a high school kid to do a fundraiser where this is such an important thing? And one of the groups at the master plan night, we're talking about the Yellow softball facility where there is not an AED up there, nor at the driving range, and they had an issue not too long ago. And you know, as Andrew was pointing out, I think he said with every extra minute, it's a 10% less likelihood that a person will be saved. And the third thing is the dog park. And I know, Anthony, you've been talking to Whitney and some of the other ladies behind the scene about the different places. So I would personally like to get more involved with being proactive and doing some other good stuff on the commission.
What was the first one?
Pickleball. Pickleball, AED, and
you said it so quick, it's just like, okay.
I thought we had said pickleball, and enough. So I will gladly be on the pickleball subcommittee if there's a couple people who would like to join me. As I said, I would love if you were willing to, take a look around and see what, and who knows if we're going to be able to come up with town money, but this is an important thing. So if, other people want to join, Kay on the AED review, the facilities, see what makes sense. And, dog park, I don't know if we necessarily need a third subcommittee, unless someone is passionate and wants to work on that. That's one I would join as well, because I know a lot of these people who are really, including this Whitney that I just made reference to, who are really pushing hard for the dog park. So, anyone?
I'll help you with pickleball, because people are telling me based on my age I should.
It's not like it's going to be a threat, because it's going to be gone in 5 years or...
Oh, no, it's staying around. Yeah, it's not a sport. And,
I relate to
what
those
it is.
people.
Yeah, I know in King Warren, it's a long area.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes, you're off the court.
And
off the court.
Dylan and David, just because you're not here,
Okay.
we're not going to forget that you're out there.
I'll help you as well.
Yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
All right, that's
Two already.
good.
Oh, did I? I did something a few years ago when I first started the committee. Like Jay Colson was that, but then it's.
So you said AD and AD, okay.
One out of Sullivan.
All right, so we have, on the dog park, we have Bridget and Bonnie. Jamie, you're with me on the pickleball. Gentlemen, on the phone? Anybody?
Yep.
I mean, I would love, I think it's probably a conflict of interest for me to get involved on the turf field side because of my involvement with Fairfield Athletic Foundation. I don't know how you feel about that, Brian.
We aren't talking about turf field subcommittee at this point. It's pickleball, AED, and dog park.
We've got 3 things.
And we already have the subcommittee. So the question is, Dylan, would you want to volunteer, or else I'm going to, double up some people. And I'm happy to do the dog park as well with you guys if no one else wants it. But Dylan, if
I can do dog park, but I'm probably not the right fit for pickleball.
Okay.
You own the dog?
Yeah, I was going to say I can't do pickleball twice.
You gotta have a dog.
Yeah, I help with the dog, so I help with the dog park too.
Okay, well, yeah.
Brian,
Yeah.
can we,
You
I'm
can't,
sorry.
Dwight.
somebody gonna,
Hold on one second, Dylan. Dylan, hold on one second.
Sure.
Yeah, we were just talking about additional volunteers for the dog park. All right, Dylan, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is it possible to have the documents that Anthony provided to the group sent out via email?
Yeah,
I think they were part of the
I
email
can send them to you. That's not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have dog park, we have at least 3. Did you want to join them on the dog park as well? That would be 4. So then I'm gonna join you, because we always wanna have an odd number.
Yeah. But can't we have non-members that are Fairfield residents?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Lydia? I had hired her as a dog trainer, some time back, and she has met with Anthony a number of times. He's looking away. He doesn't want to get involved with this conversation. Whitney's tough, but she kind of has the support of a lot of dog people in the town.
Okay.
And they definitely don't want Lake Mohegan. She's, what I said to you, Anthony, about, beggars can be choose. She does not want. They don't want up at Lake Mohegan. But if you want, we can see if she wants to join us.
It's a separate, like dog park, because to me, the woods is a park to me for the dogs. They want a place where
I think fenced in.
fenced in and they let them run like they already do at Lake Mohegan.
Typically, you'll have like a section for larger dogs and
Yeah.
then a smaller dog section.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
like red and green with a big sign.
So I was out in
It'd be like this,
North Fork over the weekend, and for example, this is a dog park out there. It's about an acre. It's all fenced in, and there they have a little gazebo for people, and the key is a double. So they're on the front.
Yeah, have you ever been up to
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah.
Eastern Helen Keller
I've seen them.
School, little
Yeah.
school? They have
They
one
have
up
it there. There's one in Westport, but it's not
It's
fenced
probably like a
in.
quarter acre up there, but
Yeah.
Okay. Still looking for a third on the pickleball. Anybody? Going once?
Dave?
I'm sure we could get 100 if we just
Okay.
help to
All right.
after people.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
328.
So these, were establishing immediately.
And it's whenever you have time and can coordinate with Bill and Chris. And and then you can get some of the information about the fields and stuff to them. And so, all right. So anything else for the good of the order? Okay. With that, we are adjourned.